This episode of the Lewis Nichols Life Stories has been sponsored by Success Sculptors. Success Sculptors is dedicated to empowering businesses and entrepreneurs by offering valuable insights and actionable advice to drive your growth. Success Sculptors hosts events on a variety of themes designed to enhance your business's success, whilst also providing a platform to connect with like-minded professionals.
Hello and welcome to Lewis Nichols Live Stories in association with Shane Solomon, and I'm really excited to welcome our next guest, the brilliant Vicki Michelle. Thank you so much for coming down to Cornwall.
Thank you, Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm delighted to be here. It's so beautiful. I love Cornwall, and I really want to have a good chat with you.
I'm really excited. We've been speaking a little bit in the green room, and you definitely have a lot of stories, so
I know.
I'm really excited for this. And I kind of want to go back to the very beginning for you, which is where your love, your passion for acting kind of came from. Is it something you grew up around?
Well, my mum was in the acting. She went to LAMDA, and I think there was Julie Andrews, Diana Dawes there at the same time. And she was a fabulous actress, and she was in a film called The Glass Mountain. And also she worked with, I think, Norman Wisdom, Sir Norman Wisdom. And then she gave it up when she had 4 girls. She couldn't, well, after she had me, she gave up the business. But we always used to laugh and joke and sing, and she was a great singer as well. So the whole family was brought up laughing, singing, dancing. But I think my first love was ballet. So I did ballet from when I was 3, and I wanted to be a ballet dancer. My sister Annie did dancing. She was better at tap, but she wanted to do the acting. And then what happened is Anne went to stage school, Ada Foster Stage School. And then my father said to me, I took my O-levels and everything because I thought I need something to fall back on if I'm going to go in the business. And he said, do you want to go to the school where they taught you dancing and acting? And I said, I'd love to. So I went there, but fell into the acting side. So both Anne and I were acting at the school.
And then you look at what you've done since is impressive. I mean, I was going through your credits and I was like, wow. I mean, if I was to write every single thing down, it would be a 24-hour interview. But going back to kind of your first experience with television, can you kind of remember what that show was and how the opportunity came about for you?
Well, when you went to Ada Foster, which is a stage school, and there's quite a lot of people, Elaine Page went there. And
wow, I like that.
Yeah, she's great. So quite a few people came out of Ada Foster. And but while you're training, Anita, so it's called Ada Foster, but her daughter Anita used to run it. And while you're training, they send you out on auditions so you can work and train. So I was working while I was training. So they sent me for an audition for Dixon of Dock Green. So my very first job was Dixon of Dock Green, and I had maybe 1 or 2 lines in it. So that was my very, very first job on television.
Was that a daunting experience to know that something that you're in is going to be broadcast to the nation, you know, for the very first time?
I didn't really think about it.
Really?
I just did it. Yeah, I didn't think of the big. I just thought I want to do it and got the job. And you concentrate on your part, your character. Yeah. So you're not really concentrating on because you're concentrating on the character that you're portraying. Yeah.
Wow. I want to talk about the Likely Lads.
But before that,
what have we got?
My next major job, if you don't mind me.
Yeah, no, of course.
So I went from there, and then I went into the West End for a year with Dudley Moore.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive.
So that was Play It Again, Sam. And so it was lots and lots of women, and Dudley and Bill Kerr playing Humphrey Bogart. And so that introduced me to the theatre world. So we were a year at the Globe in London. It's got a different name now, in Shaftesbury Avenue. And that was a great experience. That taught me about theatre and everything. And a joy to work with him because he was such a lovely bloke. So lovely.
Do you have a preference when it comes to television or theatre? So, because they're both very different. So do you have like a preference?
No, I just love acting. And I think the thing is that if you are acting, you know, you're very lucky to get the job. So I don't think I could afford to be fussy about whether I want to do that or not. So, and I think that's, you know, as long as I enjoy the part and enjoy the people I'm working with. And I think from an early age, I thought, the more people you work with, the more people you're learning from.
Yeah.
So that was my probably outlook on doing acting. But I love, if you're doing theatre, you're working with a live audience. If you're doing telly or film, you're working the camera. So, yeah.
Going to the comedy film, The Likely Lads, I wanted to ask how that opportunity came about. Was it something you were approached for? Did you have to audition to be part of the film?
No, I think it was in the Likely Lads film, there was me and Penny Irving, but I think I'd worked with the Likely Lads before that on the telly.
Yeah.
It's either before or after, because it was so long ago. Where I was from Manchester. Here, Terry, put some money on it. It's like, it was one of those I was in a gambling club with Terry. And then I think probably they remembered me from then and said, do you want to be in the film? So I was a hitchhiker in the Likely Lads film. And they were great to work with, and the general public loved them,
The great thing with you, you're very versatile as an actor, because I've interviewed many people and there's a lot of gaps between, from one job to another. But with you, it was constant. I mean, you were just working throughout. So was that something that you loved, the fact that all these jobs were coming in? Because it's kind of credit to you as an actress that people wanted you in every single show.
Well, I wasn't fussed. I just went, yeah, I'll do it. And because I looked at it, that everything that you're asked to do, I mean, there was obviously some things that I'd turned down, but, everything that I was asked to do, I was going to learn from, and working with some amazing people. And I was very lucky, because what happened, I'd be working on something like with Ken Dodd. So I did a series with Ken Dodd. And from that, the Two Ronnies, Ronnie Barker saw me do this sketch with Ken Dodd. I did quite a few sketches, it was a whole series with him. And Ronnie went, if she can do that with Ken, let's get her in. So then they got me in for the Two Ronnies.
Because I love Ronnie Barker and Ronnie Corbett. I just think they're icons. What was it like to work with them? And what are they like when they're not filming, when you had your kind of time with them?
Well, to work with them was great, but I think they threw me in at the deep end, because they thought, if she can take this, then we're going to use her again. Yeah. So they dressed me up as a boy, and I had like a cap on and a moustache, and I was a Victorian newspaper vendor, which was in the Phantom raspberry blower. And but then I sort of had a huge cleavage in it. So from a distance, I looked like a boy. And then as you honed it, so the gag was, it's not a boy, it's a girl, But I think Ronnie B just thought, if she can take this and she's got a sense of humour, we're going to use her. And it was great. It was like, read all about it, Phantom raspberry blower of old London town. So it was a great little part. And then, bless them, I went on to work with them a lot more in different shows. And in terms of, were they any different? No, they were just fabulous and clever.
Yeah.
We're working at the BBC, and you're working with these greats, but you're watching them and you're watching their timing. So when they did the, all of the songs at the end, when it would be a military band or whoever, and you just look at their timing and how they delivered their lines, or in the sketches, how they delivered their lines and how clever that was. So I think, in a way, from working with these people, I was gleaning timing and how to deliver a line and how to get your laugh.
Have you ever looked at a show and think, I wish I was on that? So is there a show that's kind of been on TV that you would have loved? Because I think you would have been great in Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to have done that.
You would have been really good in that.
Yeah, I would have loved to have done that. There are, and you think, I would love to, but Only Fools and Horses in terms of comedy and things like that. And there's lots of shows that I'd love to be in, but you tend to be, the trouble is that even now I think you get put into a category, And so for a long time, say with Allo Allo, you're put into a category, comedy actress, but they don't realise you're an actress. And I think the hardest thing to do is comedy, I mean, it's easy to emote from natural emotions, but then making people laugh is different. Believe you and laugh. And then you get older and then you get offered better parts. But it's usually that time thing that as you get older, you get offered those parts. But listen, I've had a fantastic career and loved every minute of it.
Is that frustrating, though, at some points, in a sense of you have such a love of acting and you know that you can do the serious stuff and the comedy, you can do everything, but to be always put in that category for such a long time, was it ever kind of like, come on, I can also do this, give me a chance?
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, I think there is, like, yeah, and if you're watching something, I can't bring something to mind now, but I would have been great in that, but you're not offered it because and so I think for a long typecasting is called typecasting, and, the thing is that with Allo Allo, what was the alternative? Be typecast, do a couple of series and then come out, or be part of a fantastic series that is still on now. What is it on? Yesterday Channel on Sunday, 3 episodes, every day on Drama Channel. So it must be popular because people are still... And laugh out loud comedy. So the alternative was to come out and not be typecast. And I went, no, this is an amazing show. I want to be part of this show. So I stayed with it for the whole 10 years, yeah.
Well, you've been amazing, and you've kindly introduced us to the brilliant Brian Murphy and Linda, of course, who are going to come down to be on the show. Yeah. Now, where did you first meet Brian? Was it on George and Mildred? Because you also were on the show.
Yeah, I was on George and Mildred, yes. I think I'd probably, yes. I'm coming to that, Lewis. Not just in bed with the vicar. And it's a great scene because I think he's in bed and oh God, who was the other girl? She's great little actress, great actress. And you see them in bed, and then all of a sudden you see me pop up behind him. So this is the vicar. So there's 3 in the bed. So that was the gag. But to work with Brian in youth, it was amazing. But you used to see these people at the BBC Centre, So you're working. So everyone is working there, and you're bumping into everyone all the time in the canteen. So you sort of know of people, but then doing the show with him was brilliant. And he's an amazing actor, and he just goes on ad infinitum. And I see him quite often. I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he's just the same. Him and Linda, and he's the same, and he's got this energy. And he must be cracking on now. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's still got that gift. That he's still sort of eternally youthful and loves acting and loves people. And the same with Linda. In fact, Linda's a terrific crime writer as well as being but Linda got put into that category and into, because she was in Heidi High. And she got put into the comedy attractive female. And then I've seen her in a couple of things more recently. And I saw in one thing and I rang her up and I said, Linda, that was absolutely brilliant acting, but I think, I've always said this, that if you're too, like, they say, oh, no, Vicki, no, you can't have Vicki, she's too good looking. It's a backhanded compliment.
Wow, yeah.
It's a backhanded compliment. But I always looked at it that in England, if you're too good, if you're too attractive, you couldn't act. That was the thing. In America, you didn't get the part unless you were attractive. Yeah. And it was a different thing. But.
You mentioned just then being in the BBC Centre and seeing everyone. Yeah. Was there ever a time when you bumped into someone or you saw them and you were like, wow, that kind of like starstruck moment? Because there were so many greats. So did you ever kind of walk or bump into someone and kind of...
There was like, oh my God, Omar Sharif was there one time. Yeah. And Mummy and I don't know what I'd finished. It might be Two Ronnies or something. And Mummy was in the audience. And I said, oh, come on, let's go to the bar after, Mum. And we're at the bar and there wasn't a lot of people in there. Anyway, Omar Sharif walks in. And I've got to say, my mum's very attractive, or was very attractive when she was with... And anyway... we're at the bar and Omar makes a beeline, comes over, chats us up. We sat down with him, had a chat, bought us a drink. So that was brilliant. And also Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, okay.
I'm going, oh my God. And that was another thing that I was like, oh my God, But there's, what, looking back, there's probably lots and lots of people, if I go back, because we were there for years, over 10 years. And I was there from when I was probably 18, loads of people that I've seen and bumped in and going, oh my goodness, and I'm bumping into Joan Collins when I did Noel Edmonds.
Wow, she's an icon.
And she's an icon. She's great. And she looks amazing still.
Yeah.
Just, you go, she doesn't age. And we're working on Noel Edmonds' show. And everyone's really excited because Joan Collins is on. And I was a regular in it. I was the neighbour that fancied him, whereas everyone else hated him. I used to throw him on the floor and everything. It was hysterical. And she but the sketches were done, so you didn't really have time to rehearse or anything. It was like, bang, bang, do it, you know. And she went, oh, darling. She said, I don't think that was... I said, Joan, you were amazing. And then afterwards, we were going out, we bumped into each other. And she said to me, darling, we could be sisters.
You literally looked and sounded exactly like Joan then. That was amazing. Wow.
I think what happens is it pops into my head and then I do it.
You literally became Joan for that.
Did I? Yeah.
We spoke earlier about obviously shows that maybe you would have liked to have done. Has there been a show or a film or anything that you've done and you wish, I wish I didn't do that?
No, because I don't, in hindsight, I don't see the point.
Yeah.
You know, I don't go backwards, I only go forwards. You know,
Nice.
and what's the point of regretting something you've done? I've done it, learn from it, move on. And I think that's my attitude. You know, why feel sorry? You know, why beat yourself up? You know, for what? You know, learn from it. You know, maybe if you work with someone that wasn't very nice to work with, I'm not going to work with him again. You know what I mean? That was it. You know, but I think that that's a good way to survive in the business. Learn from it, you know, move on.
Well, let's go to the very big break for you, which, you know, did make you a household name with Allo Allo. Now, this show just gripped the nation. It's gone down as one of those legendary sitcoms. So how did your part in that come about with Allo Allo?
Oh, right. Okay. It's another story.
We like them. Keep them coming.
So, my sister and I, so we're at 857, we get sent to read for Come Back, Mrs. Noah, which was a David Croft and I think Jimmy Perry. Not sure it was Jimmy Perry or Jeremy Lloyd. They're doing a new series, comedy series, set in space with Molly Sugden and Ian Lavender. And so we both read for the part. And then David Croft couldn't make his mind up between us for this. And it was a really good part. And he went with Anne, my sister. And so she did that. She did the series. But in the series, there was a part for a French-made robot. And so she said, David, don't you think Vicki would be good for the French-made robot? And he said, what a good idea. So I was like this as a French-made robot. And they painted me gold. It's a bit like doing Goldfinger. Yeah. So, and I was in that. So then what happened? But what happened with that series? It was a really good series. But I don't know what happened. It was on at the same time as Kenny Everett was on the other side. Worked with him.
Yes, we're going to have to go into that one.
And it was on at the same time, and it didn't get so many viewing figures, whereas all of David Croft's always got really good viewing figures. And they, after a couple of series, they decided to pull that one. Anyway, Jeremy Lloyd and David have come up with the series about French resistance, you know, wartime. And so they rang my agent and said, you know, how's Vicki's French accent? And you always go, great. You know, even if it's not, you go, great. Yeah. And I went and read for the part of Michelle for the Resistance and Yvette. And we didn't hear for about a year.
That's a really
It was a long
time.
time. Might have been 8 months, a year. Really long.
Wow.
I thought, oh, well, I haven't got that, you know. And I thought I did quite well on it, you know. And it was funny. When I read the script, I went, this is funny. This is a really good script. And it was because they were deciding whether to go ahead with the series or not. Because it was quite controversial at the beginning. You know, a lot of the newspapers picked on it and went, how can you make a comedy about the war? And I think David always said that we send up everyone. You know, the Germans, the French, the Italians, the British, we send them all up. We're not picking on one.
Yeah.
You know? And then when the first series came out, people had seen it, but then word of mouth went. So when they repeated it, we got mammoth viewing figures. And then it just escalated from them. And they loved it, the general public. Not only that, we sold to, well, according to Jeremy Lloyd, over 80 countries. And still most of those are buying, you know, now. They're still showing Allo Allo. So it was unbelievable. We went to New Zealand, Australia with it, yeah.
So, you know, when you looked at the character and the kind of development, were you excited? Because she was quite saucy, she was funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, me and Shane were watching last night and it's just such a good character. So were you excited of where this is going to go?
Yeah, I think, you know, that there were the regular characters.
Yeah.
And she was a great character, you know, and And all of the characters were great. You know, every single character was a strong character. And what happened with it was that sometimes you get three main characters.
Yeah.
Like Jeremy and Dave say, usually you get three characters or four characters. They'll take that, and then everyone else sort of sinks into, little parts coming on. Every single character was so strong. They had to keep all of the characters in. So it's like one of the biggest shows, monetarily, I should think, paying for everyone. That we weren't on great money. But so I think that it was a strong, with everyone loved different characters.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was, Yvette or, Madame Edith or, Gruber or Herr Flick or Helga or Listen Very Carefully or Michelle of the Resistance. I think people had their favourites. And so it was just like a hugely successful, series. And I think with my character, the thing is that if I'm doing anything, comedy or not, then that character has to be real. I don't like to make like I don't know what the word is, larger than life, caricature of a character. Because I think if you play it truthfully, and David Croft said, always play the character truthfully and the comedy will come out. So you play it for real.
Yeah.
And I think, and in a way, she was fraternising with the Germans, wearing the flying helmet and the egg whisk and everything. But in her mind, she was patriotic and she was doing it for France. So you had that sort of time with it. So it didn't become too naughty, I think.
It's when you reflect now, after so many years, are you surprised with how big the show still is, in the sense of everybody has such fond memories? It's up there with the biggest sitcoms on TV. So do you ever reflect and think, wow, I was part of something huge?
I think looking back that, you did the job, but you didn't realise how successful it was going to be. And it just went on and on. And I think one of the reasons is because we don't have so many family shows now. Allo Allo, you sit down, mum, dad, grandpa, all the kids, and you sit round and you watch a show together. And that was how, so like now I'll get a journalist ring me up and go, oh my God, I used to watch you as a kid. My grandfather loved you. My dad loved. So it was like a family show. So that there's that part of the family, or that this reminds me of my mum because I used to sit with her and watch it. So you've got that sort of thing. And I think that that's one of the reasons for its longevity, that, it was a family show, still is a family show. And not only that, it makes you laugh out loud. So not a lot of comedies now make you laugh out loud, and you can't think to laugh. You either laugh or you don't laugh, or you can smirk. But I mean, I'll watch them now. And I think we watched them quite a lot in lockdown. And I laugh out loud and I sort of know what's coming. and there were some of them I'm crying with laughter. So I think it's still got that comedy, just natural, schoolboy humour that just makes you laugh. And I think that's what we need.
I mean, you were in every single episode as well. That's pretty impressive because there were so many series. But what I wanted to ask was, why did the series stop? What was the reason for the show finishing when it did?
I don't know. David Croft said, I think we went on longer than any of his other shows. And it was really successful. And then I think David Croft said, I think we've done enough now, because he wanted to leave on a high. But Jeremy didn't want it. So Jeremy and another writer, God, I'll get his name later. And they got together and they wrote, I think, 2 of the next series, the last 2 series, I think. And David Croft was obviously still involved, but he just didn't want to write anymore. He just felt it had run its course and he wanted to leave on a high. And Jeremy, carried on. And then after the next 2, then it stopped, because we'd been going quite a long time then.
How did you feel about that? Because this has been the big part of your life for 10 years. It's been your work and something that you've loved, and then it's, come into a stop. So were you sad about that coming to a stop, or were you excited of, no, I'm ready for the next chapter?
I think that all of us were really sad. And all of us were, I think, a little bit scared, because you're used to doing regardless of how much you were getting, we weren't on huge wages, but that was regular money coming in every week. And then a lot of us had like got mortgages for houses and things like that. And then all of a sudden, when that stops, you go, well, where is my income coming in from them? And also we all knew that for a period of time, probably 2 or 3 years, we would be typecast. So how much would we, what work would we be offered? So that was a really scary time, I think. Not only it was like a family. You're splitting up a big family that worked together. And we were doing the stage show as well, and we toured all over with that. New Zealand, Australia, it took me to places that I probably would never have gone to. And then all of a sudden that was coming to an end. I mean, I must admit, we carried on with the stage show for quite a while, which was great. But at the time when Allo Allo was finishing, it was sad, but also scary for everyone, because you just, as an actor, most actors are out of work 90% of the time. So you're thinking, whoa, where's my income coming in from? So I think that was the thing, but also the fact that we weren't going to see each other. The family were being split up. Yeah.
What did you do after the show? So what was kind of next? What jobs came in? Because 10 years is such a long time.
Oh, theatre. Yeah. I did loads of theatre.
That's
what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it. So when you're typecast, television isn't going to be offering you the parts really so much. So then I was offered theatre, because you're a name and people will go to the theatre to see, Vicki from Allo Allo or whoever else was in it. So I did lots and lots of theatre, like touring, some great stuff. Worked with some, brilliant people. Don't Dress for Dinner, great show. We took that out for a long time. And Lionel Blair was in it. That was when he got his gotcha, and Sue Pollard and so many like wonderful people that we did that were in Don't Dress for Dinner. Giles Watling.
A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of different people. Les Dennis, so these were all people that I was working with over the years. And I had a fantastic time, doing theatres, live audience, and lots of different, you probably know more than me because, oh God, I did. I've done so much. Yeah, I've done so much, like Annie, Miss Hannigan in Annie and things like that was a great part.
We spoke briefly before we came on, obviously you worked with Les Dawson. What was he like to work with? Because again, just one of those people, you won't get another Les Dawson,
No, I mean, he was just amazing. I loved him. He was just gorgeous, gorgeous person, and he was fantastic to work with and giving to work with. And he was kind and considerate and funny and talented. And, I remember I think we were in Blackpool or somewhere, we were filming down there. And, we'd be walking along the road and someone would go, oh, Les, how are you? And he always had time for them, always chatted to them, always have a photo with them. He was just a genuinely lovely, but multi-talented man. I mean, how he could play the piano. I mean, because when he did it, he played it wrongly, but that's more difficult to play it wrongly.
Yeah.
And he was just brilliant. One great. And I was there when he, met Tracy and it was really nice.
One person you worked with that I love is Ray Winston.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love him. And it was in All in the Game. Am I right in saying you got that part because you auditioned for another film but didn't get the part and Ray remembered you from that?
Oh yeah, I think it was. Yes.
Sexy Beast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're good. I've forgotten that. I'm going, no. Yes. Yes, I was up for Sexy Beast. And actually, Ray thought I'd be really good in that. But I think it was Amanda Redman. And she got the part. She's a great actress, And so when this came up, I think he said, why don't you get Vicki in because he'd read for me with the Sexy Beast one. And then I got, playing his wife in All in the Game.
And Danny Dyer was your son?
Danny Dyer's my son.
Yeah. Wow. That
was fun. And Ray is he's a mate, Danny's a mate. And he doesn't live far from me. And what I love about Ray is he is as he is, and he's a great actor. And he goes, no, I'm not doing that. But it's always with, tongue in cheek, but it's just brilliant to work with and a gorgeous man. And he is huge in Hollywood and everything.
Massive.
And I remember working with Danny and Danny's going, And we were off camera, we were going, F this, F that, F that. I went, don't swear in front of your mother, because I'm playing his mum. And he went, sorry, Mum. And he didn't.
Never swore again. Wow. That's impressive to get to
Well, it's impressive. I think within that, well, maybe a day. It just lasted for about a day.
You then obviously went on to Emmerdale as well. That was another show that you've been on. And that is part of British culture. It's such a special show. Everyone's seen it at some point in their life. When you walked on to the Dales and you're part of that show, were you kind of looking around like, wow, I'm actually doing this?
Yeah, I was, because this is a bit daunting. Because you're going into something that's so well established, and you're the newbie, and you want to meet everyone, and everyone. Do you know what? Everyone was really lovely and welcoming, and it was a great character. They did talk about carrying that character on, because I think she owned a shop in the village and things like that, and it was a really lovely part. So that went on a little bit, and then that came to an end. So. But it was a joy to do, and great to say you've been in such a fantastic series. They've got great. They won the award this year, didn't they?
They got the best soap
over
at the NTA.
EastEnders, because EastEnders have won that for a long time.
I think EastEnders last year for me was robbed because the soap awards were cancelled, and it was the EastEnders strongest year, and of course you were part of that. And I've got to say, we spoke about it in the green room. You were one of the strongest characters I've seen in EastEnders for a long, long time.
I can take that, Louis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You came in and it was just like, wow, we've not had one of those kind of super bitches in soaps for a long time. And it was almost like you said earlier, like something out of Dynasty and Dallas. And
well, with me and Gillian against each other. Yeah, and Gillian's a mate. I was saying, sorry, Jill, got to do this. And Brian, I know, so. No, she was a great character. When I read it, I just went, this is a great character. And she was a delight to play. And I thought she'd go on ad infinitum, really. She got the best. Honestly, that character got the best, one of the best, because all the PR people are coming up to me going, you've got a great reaction on this, you know. And I went, oh, that's really good. I said, no, it's really good. But then Brian left. So it left that character hanging. But she was such a great girl. I hope they bring her back, because I think she stood on her own as a character in that.
Yeah. I think Brian will go back eventually, because the door's left massively open for that, So
well, it's a bit like Danny left, didn't he?
Yeah.
After years and years.
He could still come back.
Yeah, and Brian, And I think, or you can do an all storyline I don't know. But that's up to them. She was a great character. And the lines.
You had some good one-liners.
I told you earlier, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
There was, you, love, you're Gillian, you, love, are as deluded as a sandcastle in the Arctic. I mean, brilliant. And then the next time I had a go at her was, you, love, are the mushroom on a plate of full English nobody wants.
Didn't you say you mug as well at one point? You just looked at and called either Brian
I did.
it was so good.
Did you know, I don't think I was supposed to say that, but I went mug. And I went, oh, because sometimes, and also when I had a go at Sonia, I think, I had a go, I said, can I say that? And I can't remember what it was, but I was like a little bit dismissive but with a stronger word to Sonia, because it didn't feel like I said, just could I make that a bit stronger on that? And yes, but that's what it's about, putting it all together and like enjoying it and living the character. I mean, when we had the fight,
that's so good.
Well, I'm going for it, And I think because you get into the character, and this is the dangerous thing. Now and Brian's trying to get me out of the door, and I'm screaming and kicking and hitting him and going like, not too hard, but like going. And I think he had some lines to say, and he couldn't get them out because I go,
I'm praying you come back. And I love the promotional shot of you on Albert Square. Yeah. It all works.
Do you know, it was Brian did that. Brian said, come and do this. Come with me and do this. You'll want that for posterity. So that was lovely. And then we did one in the Vic as well. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you go back, because you were brilliant.
Bless you. Thank you.
But let's go back to 2014 when you said yes to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, one of the toughest shows on TV. And we've interviewed many people that have spoke about their experience. So when that came up, what made you say yes?
My daughter.
Really?
Yeah. My Louise, yeah, who's in the room over there.
she just said, please do it.
No, I went, there's always those things like there's shows that you get off, reality shows. And, and it was like one of those that if you're going to do one, Mum, do one of the best, which is I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And then when it came nearer and nearer, and I've watched the other episodes, I'm going, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about this, Lulu. I'm not sure. And she went, no, Mum, you've got to do it. So I went, okay. Well, I'd already agreed to do it, so this is last minute call. But I was getting cold feet. And because you don't know, it's fear of the unknown. This isn't acting. This is you, being thrown in at the deep end. And so, I did it. But and also I took Louise with me. So
is it the Versace?
She's in the Versace. We were talking about it last night. Like she's saying, she's with all of the friends and family. Today she had a great time and everything, in the Versace, going out and everything. And I'm starving in the jungle. But it was great. People I worked with was great. And let me establish this, right? When you are in the jungle, I think it's got a bit easier now because they keep winning things because I think they know what's coming up. When I was doing it, people didn't want to do the trials, so we weren't getting any food. And so when we weren't getting any food, we would have 2 tablespoons of rice, 1 tablespoon of beans. That's it.
It's not enough at all.
That is it. Now, for me, that wasn't a lot, but for men and everything. So then, and I think what happens is people get a bit angsty when they're hungry. So you get all of those sort of arguments and things coming in. But it was a great learning curve. Yeah. The thing that makes me laugh about I'm a Celebrity is, oh, no, I can't bear it. I can't do it. And I'm thinking, you know what's going to happen.
You signed up for it.
You signed up for it. Yeah, just do it. And I think that was my attitude towards it. I'm thinking, I'm not going to like this, but do it. And I did things that I never thought I would do, but I did. And I went, done it. Okay, you can do that. And that's it. It's actually like a really great learning curve, but also missing loved ones and relatives. So you're in a thing with lots and lots of other people, but it wasn't so bad for me because that's what being an actor is when you're touring. You're living with loads of other actors, so it's just normal. But
what was toughest part of I'm a Celebrity? Seems like you did it all right, though. You handled it quite well.
Yeah, because that's my attitude.
You knew what you...
No, but it's my attitude because I'm thinking...
I would have crumbled.
No, but if you're going to if you say, I'm going to do it, do it.
Yeah.
Don't moan about it, just do it. And so I'm thinking, some of the food was just bad. Even when we won we'd won this and they gave us this great big, like a crow-like bird. It was huge. And it was black, but it was like, when you cooked it, all oil came out of the wings and everything.
Ooh.
And crocodile feet. And then they gave the first one a little possum, but whole. Like it was still its shape, like a dog. No, I haven't that, thanks. I'll go back to the beans and rice. But those sort of things, I think they were the worst things. When you won the food and they gave you that food.
It's like a trial.
Yes, it was a trial. Trial and tribulation, yeah, for sure.
You definitely became, a big part of reality TV. And I always remember you on Big Brother's Bit on the Side, and you gave so many good opinions on that. And,
bless you.
You were on there a lot. But I did want to talk about, there was a very famous incident with Aisling and Farah, I believe. And there was an argument on the panel and it was taken off air. And Rylan very professionally just said, we have to cut. And no one knew what went on. But I believe you actually got injured.
Yeah.
In that. A glass was thrown and it actually hit you.
Well, what happened? Yeah, Farah, I don't know. She just had severe attitude problems. And I think Ashley was goading her a bit.
Yeah, I remember.
And, and the thing, and it was going on between us, and I was trying to sort of placate it and things like that. And then I think Farah said something to Ashley. Ashley stood up, and I went, oof, no. Oh. And I was in between, so I went, no. Got up to say, no, Ashley. Meanwhile, Farah had lobbed a glass that smashed on the back of my head. But if my head had not been there, Ashley would have been scarred, for sure. So it was pretty bad.
Did Farah say sorry to you?
I don't think she said sorry to anyone. She upset everyone, I think.
Ashley must have been very grateful in the sense of you.
Well, I think
protected
everyone
her.
was in so much shock. You know, then they pulled the plug. Then it was, you know, no one knew what was going on, and you're going, what just happened? You know, and it was more like it was a very surreal. It was more like everything was in slow motion.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, and Ashley was, you know, but I think at the time she didn't realise that I'm in front of her face, but the glass was being aimed at her. So if I hadn't gone to stop her, that would have just
So after that, were you taken away to make sure? Because I would have been shaken up.
They took us away to check us over, but it was
not what you expect for going on a panel to talk about Big Brother.
No,
that's for sure.
No, and it was quite painful as well. What happened? She could throw. That was hard. Yeah.
Wow. Did you ever go on after that, or was that your last appearance?
I think it was probably last. I don't know whether I did go on once after that. I'm not sure.
I don't think I'd want to.
No. It's quite scary.
I've just got a few questions for you. So it's 10 questions about your career. So it's a quiz all about you.
Okay.
Which, see how you're going to do. So this is all based on stuff. So hopefully it's correct. It's on IMBD. So it's correct on there. So we'll see. You played Crew Girl in what film?
Oh, Queen Kong.
Yes.
Yeah. With Rula Lenska and Robin Asquith. That was mad. It was banned.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, God, Lewis.
Why was it banned?
Because they said that it was incurring on the King Kong series, which was huge.
Yeah.
And they'd done a sort of a pastiche, a send-up of calling it Queen Kong, and that they were going to cash in on it. So they got it banned. So it was not allowed to be shown. It's only recently come out. It's huge in Japan or something, where they re-released it not that long ago, where it became a huge hit because it is, yeah.
Well, question number 2, you got that one right. In what year did you start in Minder?
Oh, God, don't know. I don't do years because I'm only 35.
Take a guess. If you were to guess.
Minder. So, 70s, 80s?
1980.
Oh.
How many episodes of the Kenny Everett Show did you do?
Oh. Did I do a couple? 2, 3?
4.
4, thanks.
You starred in a film playing Susan Daly. What was the name of the film?
Oh, no, I can't remember.
Rise of the Foot Soldier 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was good. That was recently. I forgot my name. Susan. Because did I get referred to as Daly? No, I just did Susan.
Susan. How many Bush Tucker trials did you do?
Lulu was in that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How many Bush Tucker trials did you do on I'm a Celebrity? Get me out of here.
Can't remember.
1.
Oh, 1.
And it was with Michael.
Oh, yeah.
How many times have you done Pointless Celebrity?
Oh, 4, 5?
3.
Oh, okay.
In what year did you win MasterChef? I know we already established years, maybe not.
Win?
No, which
year
did you do it? Yeah.
I didn't win.
Yeah, it was
no, but I'm a really good cook.
Yeah.
I mean, I told them, I said, no, you've got it wrong. I'm really good. No. Greg going, well, I don't know. And he went, no, this isn't going to be. This the chicken is going, oh, no, this isn't going to. And then they tasted it and went, oh, actually it tastes really nice.
Not too bad.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I taste it, but I'm not good at presentation. You know, with
tastes good, doesn't look
the
as
twiddly
good.
bits. Yeah. You know, didn't do the twiddly bits. Yeah. What was did you?
So what year were you in that?
2010.
And 8.
Thanks.
And then the last one for you. This is. I'll be amazed.
I do never, ever do years.
I will be amazed if you get this. What date did you get voted out of I'm a Celebrity?
What do you mean date? Like what year?
The actual date.
Oh, what? The day and...
This is
I don't know.
4th of December, 2014.
Near my birthday.
So, but what's next for you now? What are you working on? What projects have you got coming up that you can tell us about?
It's a really good, it's called Whitstable Pearl. It's a series and they're going to do the 3rd series. So that's just going to start now. It's Acorn TV and then I think it goes on terrestrial and things.
Wow.
But people really, really love it. And this was a really good character. So when I first got this character, she's great. She's an ex-landlady, runs a pub, blah, 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 blah. But then when I've got the part, I think they decided that she was going to be ill as well. So what they did, I ended up looking very ill. So I look really awful in this, but it was a great part. And the director was really good. And he kept saying, no, da-da-da. And then there was one poignant part where I'd done something to this person and it really hit home. Because I think when you're acting, you become the role. So then when I'm in the role, then that's what's happening. And then I started, and then I just, some tears ran down my face. And he went, afterwards, he said, darling, he said, it's Italian. He said, darling, he said, did they put these things under your eyes to make them water? I went, no. I said, no. Well, that was just natural. I said, yeah, it's how I felt at the time. That was very good. And he did. And he was great to work with because, he was a director that actually pulled everything. Yeah. He got the best out of you. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm not looking too healthy, but it was a really good role. So I'm doing Panto.
Yes.
With Chico.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Chico time.
Yeah, Chico time.
Wow.
And he's great. So I did the shoot with him last week and all of the cast. They're lovely. And I'm doing it in Port, oh God, not Talbot, no.
We'll have a look and we'll put the link.
Ellesmere Port.
Oh,
it's
there we
because
go.
Port Talbot's been on the news. And I keep thinking of Ellesmere Port. So I'm doing Ellesmere Port and then we're moving there. So I think that's for about 3 weeks and then we're moving to Fleetwood near Blackpool for another week. So it's going to be fun. And I'm playing Caraboss in Sleeping Beauty. So I'm really good at playing evil.
And I'm hoping we'll see you back in EastEnders. Honestly, I cannot say enough. If they're watching, please get you back on there.
Oh, bless you.
But thank you so much for coming on Live Stories today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, we could have gone ad infinitum.
Thank you so much.
No, it's been a pleasure, Lewis. Thank you for your lovely questions.
Thank you.
This episode of the Lewis Nichols Life Stories has been sponsored by Success Sculptors. Success Sculptors is dedicated to empowering businesses and entrepreneurs by offering valuable insights and actionable advice to drive your growth. Success Sculptors hosts events on a variety of themes designed to enhance your business's success, whilst also providing a platform to connect with like-minded professionals.